Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Scorpio energy, and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because life's about emotionally growing up and maturing yourself and tempering your fears and your insecurities and uh, more shadowy aspects of ourselves. And some people have accomplished that more so than some other people. So, regardless of what age people could be, some people are very egotistical, very self centered, very bossy, very controlling, they're aware of the highway, immature, prideful, lazy, and then a more shadowy energy at large just doesn't want to invest in love. And with love, you're supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. And some people haven't learned that. And just to come out from behind their ego, self protective nature to do love. And Scorpio is emotional water sign energy, but we can all make the free will choice. I'm not going to connect in with my emotions. Scorpio can be about exploring the mysteries of life. Well, we're emotionally complex human beings. It can take a while to get used to ourselves and understand ourselves. And Scorpio can talk about the fact that because we are emotionally complex, we can have a lot of contradictory emotions towards people. Like you get in relationships with people, you got moms or dads or brothers or sisters or friends or romantic interests. I hate them. I love them. I don't ever want to talk to them. I hope they call me tomorrow. We're emotionally confusing. And so it can be it's confusing to even get clear about the fact that we are this emotionally complex human being. And some people decide, yeah, no, not going to deal with it. And they bury that aspect of them underneath the surface. And then it is shadowy Scorpio, where they can just use their emotions, kind of like just stay on the surface. That's why emotionally shallow and superficial. And, uh, maybe just to use their emotions and their sexuality and all those things just in a more superficial way. It's like uh we were given our passionate, intuitive, creative, intuitive nature, but we can disregard that too. It's like no, 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 that can get me in trouble. That's confusing. I think I know best. I'm going to live more from my mind than my heart. And then all those gifts that we were given to not make us more like an animal or a computer, people just touch on the surface of them, and then people can kind of find them superficial and shallow. And people don't want to stay in relationships with them because, we have to invest in these things within ourselves uh, to grow and mature ourselves in them and how to work with those gifts and those things we've been given. And some people just refuse to. So, with that introduction, we all tap into Scorpio energy. Uh, like all the zodiac signs, as I reference them, those zodiac signs can represent certain traits and characteristics, either coming more from our mind, the swords, our heart and emotions, the cups, our worldly nature in the pentacles, or our passionate creative nature in the wands. So let's go see what's going on in Scorpio energy. It might be something that people who are Scorpio sun sign or have a lot of or significant Scorpio placements in their astrological chart might deal with. But in turn, it can affect us all. So I view this as the overarching reason we either stay more immature emotionally or we have grown and matured ourselves enough to be able to be high value the Page of Cups, which can represent all three of the water signs, Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. I can be authentic and loving and encouraging with people because I know myself and I'm not like in my fear of my insecurity, and I can get to know people. The pages, like I can make gestures to work together with people in love because I've kind of maybe worked through my more I'm not defensive to love anyway, is I guess what we could say. And other people, they might make gestures to people too, but they maybe want to keep staying more emotionally immature or codependent, you know? At the heart of the reading, we have the Nine of Swords, which is Gemini energy about our dualistic free will nature. We have the free will to indulge our more defensive nature, immature nature in some way, or we have the free will to be inspired by love. And over here, we have the Ace of Swords, which is people's truth in their Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini nature of what they think is just and fair and their idea of the dream life. And people are going to move forward in that truth. Some people are going to move away from operating from a foundation of love. The Three of Cups is Cancer energy, and some people are like, nope, not doing that. My truth is in the Six of Wands, which is Leo energy. I haven't tempered my ego and my fears. I'm defensive to being hurt or defensive to love or coming out from behind my self protective defensive nature. I'm going to keep operating from my ego. And if they can find someone who's on that same page as them or willing to be in a relationship with them anyway, well, then that's a journey they're going to go on. And some people are shadowy Aquarius, can be there more about the ego or the image or themselves. Leo shadowy can be, again, more about me, more about the ego and the image and the status, and making it more about me or about these things of the world. And other people who've been in relationships with people who are like, they're leaving them behind because they harness in their water sign energy and have realized the truth that what the other people love is kind of being in relationships, but then they use their emotions kind of manipulatively in the relationship and use the love that other people have for them to emotionally manipulate them. And, they think that's just and fair. And so some high vibe people are moving away from people who are like that, and they're moving forward standing up for themselves. I'm going to move forward with the people who work together with me in love and truth, and love is to be just and fair. You're supposed to be authentic, high vibe Leo. You're not supposed to be like your false person running your life. Do the work to heal and grow and mature yourself so you can be more authentically yourself. In shadowy energy can be where people try to create this illusion about the truth of who they are so people will get in a relationship with them, and then later people find out the truth of who they are, and the shadowy people are hoping, yeah, but if I can get them in it, if I can get them to take this job, get in my friendship group, join this organization, be my friend, date me, marry me, well, then I'm hoping that because of the ego and the image and the status, or just the fact that it does have these aspects of these things of the world that we want. We want to be in friendship, community. We want to have jobs if we're out in the job market. And some people create this illusion about the type of people they are. So we move forward with them and then hoping that even when we do see the truth later, we'll just keep moving forward in it anyway. And we can all kind of do that to a degree because, we can have hope and faith and belief and love. The Six of Swords moves away from the Five of Swords. And the fives can talk about conflict. In particular, the five, the six, and the Seven of Swords in Aquarius energy talk about I have a dream. I got in something. Now I'm kind of defensive to moving away from it because either I love them or the fives talk about change. I keep hoping they'll change. I keep hoping they'll see the truth. I keep hoping they'll stand up to their own shadow nature and other things in their life or people that kind of manipulate them. And I hope one day they see the truth and that this will be victorious and successful and what I was hoping it would be. Well, that could be us kind of. There's nothing wrong with having hope and faith and belief that, offering people truth and love. truth and love is a good thing, but we also have to stand up for our truth. And when people show us kind of like turning their back in their free will of their emotional nature of the Page of Cups, which is kind of like not doing that. I mean, I'll go with you so long as you'll let me keep manipulating you or making it more about me or more about these other things or letting me be defensive or letting me be bossy or controlling or intimidating or superficial and shallow, and you make your life letting whatever manipulates me keep manipulating you. That's my idea of the dream life. You can give up your dreams and you could let those possibilities, because life is all about these things that we could manifest, but we have to be willing to speak our truth and stand up for our truth, or we just kind of go along with the crowd, maybe feeling emotionally manipulated. So love is to be just and fair, but to be inspired to stand up for what you believe in and accept the truth, which means you have to get out of shadowy Leo energy of your ego and accept the truth that if that's not their truth, but that's your truth, I am going to stand up for my truth. And if that's not your truth, well, then I guess you'll move forward the way you want to move forward. But I'm not going to keep moving, you know. Again, the Five of Swords, like, uh, we can get in relationships with people and we can kind of, the fives and the sevens can talk about, those are challenging times, because we have to really think about what our truth is to get through those more challenging times. What the fives can represent and the sevens can kind of represent in tarot. And we could want to move forward in things again, but what ultimately drives and motivates you? Some people are like, well, I want people to love me, because they haven't worked through their own mental conflict. And I view High Vibe Leo as learning to love yourself. And they haven't learned to love themselves. So it kind of ends up being more about them. I'm like looking for like a parent, a child would look for a parent, and they're an adult, and you're not their parent, but they kind of have the emotional maturity level of like a child who wants to kind of be indulged in a relationship. Even if I'm immature or bossy or you're not going to require me to look at life from a higher perspective and get out, learn some lessons in life to quit operating from my more, and the Eight of Wands over here in Sagittarius. We either are motivated and inspired to work through our fears and insecurities in the Nine of Swords, to kind of grow up and mature ourselves and close out some old cycles in our life. Like, that is unacceptable behavior. Out of love for myself, and that I have a dream of not keep being an immature person or a shadowy person or whatever, or being just codependent, I am going to work through my own mental conflict and be inspired to work through my fears and insecurities, offer love to those issues in my life and my past. I kind of view the Page of Cups as wishing things peace and love. Love is the answer. I'm going to offer love to myself and those issues from my past, wrap my brain around this game of life, look at life from a higher perspective, put things in perspective. Things could happen to me growing up. Things could happen to me throughout my life. There's always going to be more shadowy people in the world. We've grown up with some shadowy people, right? We have brothers, sisters, moms, dads, extended family, neighborhoods, community, states, countries. And there's always going to be more shadowy people in the world who are more about themselves, hurtful and unkind, immature, manipulative. I'm not going to give up my dreams and living my more authentic life, and kind of two cards, because Leo energy also represented by the sun, and the Aquarius represented by the star. I want to shine my authentic light. I have my own unique talent, skills, interests, and I'm not going to let my own shadow nature run my life. And I'm not going to let other people who've been kind of shadowy have that much power and control in my life. I'm going to, again, with Ace of Cups starting out, I'm going to offer love to it so that I can move on. The Eight of Wands talks about being inspired to move on. And people who have learned that lesson have learned that love is the answer. I can have people I don't want to move away from. I could have people I didn't want to close out a cycle with. I could have moved away from people who really stressed me out for some reason. Shadowy Scorpio can be intimidating, controlling, abusive, narcissistic. But I don't want to keep moving forward the way things are. I'm being authentic and truthful and am motivated to inspire to move in forward in it in love. But not everybody in my life was on the same page at that time. And some of those people, were, the more we live life, right? When we're children and when we're young adults going out in the world, we can have that more hopeful, believing spirit. Things don't work out the way we wanted. People in our life, they're kind of caught up in their life, in their world, like the adults. And then the other people that are in our life, we got to deal with all the other people that are our age group. And they're all on different stages of having learned these lessons in life. And there too, then as we get older, um, it can kind of help us put things in perspective more. And there too, when we're young, we don't quite see things from an adult's perspective, and the things that they could be stressed out and the things that they're trying to move forward with and the dream they're trying to accomplish. And, that might be where they feel, in order to bring this dream into reality, that they need to keep their focus on. And we could have felt like we got a little left behind. But there too, we've also dealt with people that were more caught up in the world, uh, being in a relationship or having a family that was kind of there, but maybe being more about themselves or the things of the world or whatever, their ego or them, could have been more important. And then, are we going to repeat that same pattern where, and why are they the way they are? They probably went through their similar things, and if we don't try to wrap our brain around this game of life, we might repeat the same pattern. So some people offered love to it. They didn't want to keep moving forward in their life, being defensive to love, letting things from their past keep manipulating them, having them up in their head, being up in their head about the people who weren't just and fair and loving, and being up in their head about the people who aren't moving forward with them. They have their truth, I have my truth, and I'm going to get out of my ego and accept the truth. And there can be some people who aren't purposely moving forward with me or other people in their life because they could be trying to manipulate them. I don't think you'll love and believe in yourself. I think because you love me, I might do these immature things to cause you stress and anxiety. And even when you do stand up for yourself, I think you'll come back because you love me. Some of the high vibe people are moving on. They went around that track enough times and they saw the truth that, you know, the the nines can mean that we're at the close to being able to end a cycle, and some people right now could be at the end of closing out a phase of their life, either within themselves and their own habits or ways of viewing themselves or viewing the world or viewing others, or detaching from a stage of life to move forward in their life a little differently, to try to bring, their dream into reality, and realizing if I keep staying where I'm at, my dreams aren't going to come into reality. I got to, break free of some things or where I live or where I work if I want to have these dreams that I want to have come into reality. And sometimes that can mean getting out of certain friendships or relationships or moving. The Eight of Wands can talk about moving. But for some people who were trying to manipulate people, some of those people could be stressed out because you know, shadowy energy tries to, instead of having learned the lesson, being enlightened to the truth and offering love, being inspired to offer truth and love to the situation, because that might mean they have to get out of their ego, or they'd have to say, I don't know, I was stressed out, I was fearful, I was being immature, I maybe already did some things. The Eight of Wands in shadow can also be being immature. Maybe I let some of these things in life kind of get me caught up in them and whatever it was, and they'd have to illuminate the truth. For some people in your life, you're going to move on with your life, and those people are going to repeat an old pattern, maybe forever, because they're not willing to illuminate the truth. The truth sets us free. But some people, you know, we're fallible human beings. We make mistakes. That's kind of the Eight of Wands. We're on this journey in life to learn these lessons. And sometimes we haven't learned the lessons we were meant to learn. And we could get to where we're on the edge, like, uh, I could work through my fears and my insecurities of detaching from an old way of being or thinking is right or just or fair of how to conduct myself in a relationship or something. But I'd have to first be even inspired to want to detach from that old way of living life. And again, some people, they'd have to detach from living more from their mind than their heart. For other people, we go from the Nine of Swords to the Six of Swords. That's letting go of the Three of Swords, which can be, um, the struggle that we have kind of between our mind and our heart. I don't know. Is that the right thing to do? Isn't it? Will I think I get justice doing that, or should I live my life the way I live it? Maybe I'd have to get the sixes can talk about being more balanced within yourself. Well, I'd have to get more balance within myself. That could take some work and effort. Get out of my fear, my insecurities, or being more bossy or controlling, or thinking it has to be more about me. I'd have to heal. I'd have to see the truth. I'd have to quit staying in denial of the truth. And though some people could want to move forward in life differently, some people won't just because they're either not ready to stand up for themselves, and high vibe energy is, I am, well, for one, I become independent of my shadow nature and I quit letting my more immature, shadowy nature, immature, and shadowy nature manipulate me. But then I wouldn't be able to give in to my lust and my greed and my pride and my ego, and you wouldn't indulge me. You'd require me to be more just and fair and balanced. I could hang out with some other people who maybe wouldn't require that. I'd have to get out of my head. I'd have to have some hope and faith and belief in me. I'd have to have some hope and faith and belief in others. And maybe if it's romantic, I'd have to have hope and faith and belief in love. Or I already did something immature and I'd have to reveal the truth. So, for all those different reasons, there's going to be some people that are going to go repeat an old pattern. And some have no interest in moving forward. It was kind of more like, wow, I took this job, I got in this friendship, this relationship, I really enjoyed it. The fire sign can be, I'm really enjoying it. But then, as things move forward, some of the people that I was with kind of wanted me to move forward a little differently. And it's like, what? Out there? I've never been there before. That'd be different. And I just want to stay in my comfort zone. we could relate to different experiences in our life. If we were to think of, where some people can't wait, maybe get out of high school and go to college. Well, those people go and, and we're all, I mean, not like you shouldn't force yourself to go do things that you're not ready for because when we try to, we have to be ready. And so, just like being more authentically ourselves, we shouldn't go try. I mean, it'd be one thing to work together with people, say in love, and say, be honest and like, especially if you think it's moving too fast, and that could get you up in your head to tell truth and love is the best answer. I think we need to slow down. Maybe I don't have that much experience, right? And I uh I feel like it's kind of just kind of taking me with it, and I really want to make sure that I'm not getting more caught up in it for the wrong reasons, right? And so I want to take time to go slower. But for some people, to step out of their comfort zone, to leave their community and move to go get a job somewhere else or anything like that, we're all kind of ready to do that when we're ready. And there can be some people who will never want to step out of their comfort zone because that's hard. You do have to have hope and faith and belief in yourself. And it's kind of like believing that what I kind of created here, I think I can create out there. It might take longer to establish some of those things because I might have been here all my life, right? So, for example, some people are in relationships right now. For the people that are on the same page, whether they're more high vibe, love focused as the driving foundation, or they're maybe at whatever stage of life, we've all been more immature, and we could you could look at it like people who are 18-year-olds are in a relationship moving forward. People who are 21, people who are 25, people who are 30, people who are 35. At every stage of life that we're in, we're kind of motivated and inspired by certain things. We could all have some of our own fears and insecurities within ourselves and as we move forward in jobs, friendships, or relationships. But for people who, if they like to live more from their mind, don't really want to do love, or in a relationship with someone who they think that person is kind of emotionally manipulating them, but they haven't learned to love themselves, they're probably going to keep moving forward in a relationship even though it can be mismatched. But if they're definitely people in a more shadowy, my truth is we should make our life more about the world. That's the reason why I get in relationships. That's why people should stay in relationships. And if I'm in one that seems to have those things of the world, I'm going to stay in it. And if I have someone who's willing to move forward with me and stay in a, because that can be some people's truth. That is how things should be. That is the most important thing. We all want to look victorious and successful in the world, right? We all want what other people have, right? And that's the most important thing. And that can be shadowy energy. It's like trying to create this illusion. It's just that some of those people, they're not taking action from truth and love. They could even be moving away from people that they love because they're more inspired. The most important thing is that I look a certain way, that I have a certain status or image in the world, male or female. Or the most important thing is, even if I love these people, this person is willing to indulge me in my shadowy nature. And that's the most important thing. If I like it to be more about me, or I'm egotistical or self centered or bossy or controlling or superficial and shallow, some of those other people weren't willing to put up with it. This person is. Well, the most important thing is that I get what I want. And they could think my emotional nature isn't that important. We have to be logical and practical, and we might indulge our more immature nature and our more defensive nature and our egoic nature. I think as time goes by, at the end of the story here, we're going to get out some cards of what could be coming up for people that they don't see coming. And I think when we don't take action in truth and love, we might end up with it being all about ourselves. We might end up with people who are willing to indulge us in our shadowy nature. Or we might have a certain status or image in the world or power influence. It's just that we are probably in relationships with other people who the people end up staying are the people who also use their emotions manipulatively, because the loving people just couldn't keep moving forward in it. Those things, with our Gemini talks about our free will nature. When you don't choose this and you choose this, in any choice in life, you're sacrificing something for something that you think will be the better option in some way, you know, more aligned with your truth or be more fulfilling or more fun or a better job or whatever. Well, I think when we don't let love and intuition and truth and loving and believing in ourselves guide our decisions, I think it's probably not going to turn out the way we want. We could look like we have all the things we want, but is it really what we love? We could go get in a job. Oh my gosh, I look like a shining star. I look victorious and successful, and I hate this job. How miserable to live your life having to go to a job that, you didn't go invest in what was your truth and stand up for yourself and really go pursue the things in the career field that you really loved, which would have been a joy to kind of go to work to every day. And instead, you're in some profession that it looks good, but you hate going every day. Like, oh my God, I don't want to go, but you have to go. You know, we have free will to manifest what we want to manifest. And some people, maybe because of people in their life, we can all grow up. And, that's the thing. High vibe energy is being more independent. We can all grow up in families. And again, some people are more influenced by their community, their state, their country to live their life a certain way. And that's not their truth. But it also makes me think, um, some people have people in their life that, regardless of what type of people they were, if they were more loving and encouraging or more harsh, critical, manipulative, more caught up in the world, some of the high vibe people in those situations, regardless of what happened in their life, they were inspired to get clear about what their own truth was. And they became more independent and move forward in their truth to live their more authentic life. Sometimes some people who always were more, it's kind of making me think of people who are much more self focused, maybe materialistically focused to such a degree that that is like the truth in their life, or they're more petty, envious, shadowy energy. You can be jealous and envious and all those kind of things. You can be narcissistic, right? Some of those people could have had people in their life who were being loving and encouraging to try to get them to maybe toe the line. Well, then, if what happens though when again, it's kind of like the truth is going to rise to the surface no matter what. And for some people that really are much more immature, really are more inspired by themselves and the world, and that it should be more about them. Um, and some people also are just much more codependent on people. And some of those people could have wanted those people codependent on them, or they were hoping they were going to grow up. Either case, some people say those people have moved on in their life and they're not around anymore. It kind of makes me think too of kind of the stories you sometimes hear about, um, and we could have all witnessed or experienced ourselves. But say when a kid goes to college for the first time, and they kind of had to toe the line when they were at home, and then they get dropped off at college, and then they're here. Well, for one, they're not used to kind of being able to live their own life and make their own decisions. And those are skills that people can have. But if everybody else used to make your decisions for you and you kind of had no choice but to listen, that can be a little scary for some people. And then some people are like, oh my goodness, I can't wait kind of till you were gone. And then I'm going to go live the life that I want to go live, which has not been moving forward the way I've been wanting to. And I think, that's kind of like you got to go learn some lessons the hard way. And there can be some people who, again, in a more shadowy Scorpio energy, they've always kind of hidden the truth of who they are. So, in a way, some of the people who are being immature, whatever, shadowy, it could be a truth. It could come out much later in people's lives, maybe when people have some midlife crises, because they've really never, it's always about towing the line and acting this way and acting that way, but that really wasn't the truth of who they were. And some of those people, they'll kind of go back and repeat an old pattern. And some of them really because they went from being married, from being at home to being married, and they never, instead of working through it, like, oh yeah, I maybe didn't go do this and I maybe didn't go do that, or I didn't get to go do some of these things that I might have wanted to do. I think if you offer truth and love to the people you're in relationship with, that, you know, I mean, if it's like, I want to go be shadowy Sagittarius as being a player, that probably won't go over well. But, I would like to go do more of these things. And I feel like it's just so buckled and laced up. Could we just go out and do some of the things that I feel like I've never really gotten to do in my life? And maybe because we had all these responsibilities or something. And from love, the other people in their life would maybe be willing to just go experience some new things and do some new things and be more, be willing to go on an adventure together. But some people are going to repeat some, kind of go live a life that maybe, some other people already lived, but they didn't. And then they could think, well, I can go do that. And maybe because I have this certain status or image in the world that I've been putting a lot of work into, I can kind of use that and then go repeat some poor past patterns. But because I have this image or status in the world, like that will take like precedence. And because people view me this certain way, and of course I maybe did put in this work and effort, but some of them just wanted to go indulge in being more immature, hoping their image or status would carry them through doing something kind of more immature. And, again, some people, oh, because I have a certain image or status or power, influence, or because of money or a family that I'm from or whatever, I can do these things and I'll be able to get away with it. And maybe for some of them, they maybe done things like that, and their family or their friend group always kind of rallies around them and protects them and their image. And, you know, some of these people could have thought in their ego, which can be, I kind of think I'm like the boss and there is no higher truth or justice. It's just do what you want in the world, maintain a certain status and image. You can do these things so long as nobody knows. Keep it buried underneath the surface. And maybe because of your money or your image or whatever, you'll be able to basically cheat the justice system. So Scorpio is also represented by the death card. And over here, we have the truth and like a higher truth and perspective. And they're like, nope, I don't believe it. I'm going to keep doing this. I don't think like that exists. I think that's something that other people believe in. I just think there are rules to this game of life. And when we kind of aren't making decisions more in truth and love and growing up and maturing ourselves and taking accountability for our actions, shadowy energy of the big picture kind of represented by the devil, we're going to go learn some hard lessons in life. And if we indulge our more immature, prideful, bossy, defensive, whatever nature, a consequence is going to be that some more high vibrational people are going to leave your life, leave that job, whatever the case is. They're not God. The devil might like to think that they're God, but they're not. There is a higher truth and justice at play in the world. And there is more to this world than just what the world tries to tell us. So we've talked about a lot of different stories here. People are moving forward. People are trying. High vibe people are offering love and inspiration to people for them to move forward with them. Some people could be moving forward with them. Some of them are on the same page. They're closing out an old cycle, detaching from old ways of thinking and believing or perceiving themselves and believing in themselves and believing in their dreams. Some people might be going along and they're kind of stressed. I don't know. Should I stay in this job or this friendship or this relationship? I don't know. And some of those people, that's kind of these cards here that aren't showing themselves. The people that are more trying to create an illusion, they pretty much want almost anybody to move forward with them to a degree so they can create this illusion of how victorious and successful and in competitive energy and want to have a certain image or status in the world, and they might try to get more immature, shadowy, codependent people, fearful people, stressed out people, defensive people, even if they're bossy and controlling. I don't care. Come with. If it would look good somehow for my ego and my image, or if it's just about having someone to indulge in, I don't really care. Shadowy Scorpios. Life's just about death, sex, taxes. I want to have someone to have sex with. And other people, you know, even if it's not someone that they love, I don't care. And for the people who know they just create an illusion, those people are always stressed because they're always afraid over time the other people are going to figure out the truth, that they are much more codependent, they are much more immature, they are much more defensive to love. And as the relationship moves forward in high vibe Leo, relationships are supposed to grow and mature over time, just like children. But some people didn't grow and mature themselves, and they're kind of not inspired to get more connected in with themselves emotionally. I would prefer to keep living more from my mind than my heart. I will try to work with you, some of them cooperatively, kind of in a relationship, and mimic you and try to treat you the way you treat me. But I don't authentically freely give of myself from love because I've kind of detached from that. And I really don't even want to connect in it. I get hurt doing love and always afraid that the other people are going to see the truth. And if they have a lot of things that they don't deal with, the Six of Swords moves away from the Five of Swords, can just be their fear of being more authentic, fear of trusting other people, fear of believing in themselves, fear and believing that other people would really want to be in a relationship with them, fear of being more independent, moving away from some other foundation, whatever issues it is that they have that manipulate them, and they might have a lot. um, Other people work through theirs. We can get in relationships with people, and people can be like loving and encouraging and help us through difficult times, and we can help them through difficult times. But some people do some of this inner work within themselves to work through some of the things that manipulate them. And then as time goes by in the relationship, They're like a new them. Kind of the person that they were when they could have gotten into it. They're not that same person because they don't stay dead and stagnant in death energy of Scorpio. They are kind of inspired to work through their fears and insecurities periodically, and their past pain and heartbreak, and their self limiting beliefs. And they offer some love to themselves to free themselves. You know, the devil talks about all these things that manipulate and control us. And they work through some of those things to be free of them. They let go of the Three of Swords, something that maybe had caused them inner conflict between their heart and their mind, and believing in themselves or believing in others or believing in love or feeling more confident within themselves or feeling more loved within themselves or something. But the other people never do, some of them. So then they want to keep moving forward and it like staying the way it is. You know, it's like, I'll create the illusion in the Eight of Wands. I'm willing to move forward, to have this new beginning, to bring this dream into reality. And then when I get you to move forward in it, oh, well, then from the Eight of Wands down to the Seven of Wands, yeah, this is the new. It's like we got in a relationship to move it forward, or you took the job, or we promoted you to a position. And then that we really kind of do the exact same thing. It's just that now maybe it's more formal. But I really want to do the same thing we were doing before. And it might take quite a while for the people that are in a relationship to realize, you know, it doesn't seem like we're kind of giving birth to our own thing. Kind of seems like we're doing what we were, which there's a lot of things I could like about that. But, you know, loving energy is about giving birth to something new that's yours together, a blend. And the other people were kind of like, well, no, I kind of thought it was going to be more about me and the way I wanted to do it. And, you know, people might not realize that for quite a long time that, oh, it was just kind of emotionally manipulating me to make me think we were going to work cooperatively together, inspired by love, to give birth to something of our own combined together. But really, I'm just a third party to you being in a relationship with yourself. I'm just the person, I guess, that you're in a relationship with or have sex with. But it isn't to work together with me cooperatively. I have my dreams and aspirations. You have your dreams and aspirations. And then we work together from love to try to bring in, it's not completely yours, it's not completely mine. Everybody kind of has to sacrifice some things, you know, for the common goal. But some people think, but I'm the star of the show. I feel what I bring is more important. So it should be more about me. Other people should just put aside their pride and ego in the relationship, but not me. And it can take a long time to figure that out. So some people are moving forward in relationships. Some of those people are going to go with, you know, on any way of moving forward that we're moving forward with. Some high vibe people have learned to stand up for themselves. They know they're probably a loving person who likes to work together with people cooperatively. And it could have stressed them out in the past when other people didn't, because it's like, why aren't we able to work together in a more just and fair way? And it was like, it confused them. And so then they'll put a lot of work and effort to try to get the other people on board. Not anymore. If people show that that's not your truth, you're acting like this, you're not, you know, I just accept the truth. Okay. Yeah. Apparently, in your free will, working together in a more just, fair way or cooperatively isn't your thing. I see the truth of it. I accept the truth. Thank you for showing me the truth of who you are. Might I still have to work with you? Might still be in my family. You might be in my neighborhood. You might be at my workplace. Yes, but I'm not confused about it anymore. Again, from the Nine of Swords to the Six of Swords is the difference, is the Three of Swords. We either get out of our head and see the truth that it's beneficial for everybody to kind of work together in a more just and fair way, from being authentic and loving, not trying to manipulate and control anyone. But some people really have a problem with that because that is their way of operating in the world. Well, can't I be immature? No. Can I manipulate you? No. Can it be more about me? No. Can I try to get out of the work and how about you do the work and put in all the work and effort? No. Damn. And if it's just a friendship or relationship, those people definitely might. I don't want to keep being your friend and I don't want to date you anymore. If I can't control and manipulate you and be immature and you'll indulge me, it's like, and then, they definitely don't like it. And they'll try to go find someone else who will let them do that, right? So let's go look at these cards that aren't showing themselves. We have the Four Swords in reverse, the Hierophant in reverse, and the Five of Wands. At any stage of life when we could be looking to have a new beginning, we're probably looking to have a new beginning because in the Four of Swords, which, like the Three of Swords in between here, is Libra energy, things were not just and fair and balanced. There was an imbalance. People weren't being just and fair, or we just kind of realized what we both think is just and fair and how we want to move forward is different, right? So something wasn't, kind of like you had different truths, right? And some people hadn't healed, some people might have healed, some people were just and fair, some people weren't. But you weren't on the same page at the same time in how you wanted to move forward in something. And so, you know, you could feel, kind of defensive in the Seven of Wands that, something, you didn't get the justice that you wanted, you know? And the Hierophant in reverse can be, the Hierophant can represent all these different institutions of the world, family dynamics, relationships, organization, workplaces. You know, you probably, it didn't work out, And so then we can be defensive because it didn't work out. The difference is, again, high vibe people try to it's like planting your life in good soil. I don't want to keep staying angry, mad, defensive, in competitive nature in my ego. I'm going to offer love to it so I can move forward. And in high vibe energy, seeing the truth of just where everybody's at. They've got situations, if it's just friendships or people in the community, they got their priority of their relationships and people in their life. I'm just a friend or an acquaintance or a coworker. I can extend grace to people, but if it keeps moving where we don't seem to want to both put in work and effort to work cooperatively with each other, I wish you peace and I'm going to move on. Others could have been more difficult because we could have had more fear of having a new beginning. If something didn't work out at a job or a job closed down or whatever, and you have to go find a new job, just like finding a new friend or a new relationship, that can all be pretty stressful. But high vibe people offer love to it, get out of their ego, from the Eight of Wands to the Seven of Wands, seeing that there is not going to be a new beginning there, either because you don't want to, they don't want to, uh, or you're inspired by different things. Either way, what you could find victorious and successful in your idea of the dream life, dream relationship, dream workplace could be different. And then again, as you move forward, the high vibe people stay focused on truth and love, maintaining balance within themselves. High vibe Gemini is staying focused on truth and love. I want to close out a cycle. There was a way of living life or viewing life or people I was hanging out with. That chapter in my life is over. There will be no new beginning there. And then from the Eight of Wands down to the Five of Wands, it's letting go of the Three of Wands, which is I had a dream that I thought was going to come into reality. And then I have to work through my inner conflict about letting that dream go. But if people, you know, all a person can do is offer people truth and love to work together with them cooperatively from love. And again, people can love each other. You can have people in your life that you love, but they've got to move away, or they're a friend and they're married, and their primary focus has to be more on that for some reason, right? But we still might have to work through our inner conflict just about the fact that maybe there won't be a new beginning in it. But high vibe people are inspired to go with the flow of life. I have a dream I want to come into reality. If their truth is different than my truth, if what they want to manifest is different than what I want to manifest, if we have harness, some people harness more shadowy energy to a degree that I can't deal with it. My dream couldn't come into reality with them anyway. And God wants me to see the truth of it. Your dream can only come into reality with people who are working together and inspired to work together with you in truth and love. And if what your idea of the dream life or dream relationship, of how you envision it getting along, some other people could have a problem with that, because again, they'd have to quit thinking it's just and fair to make their life, like getting in a relationship and staying in a relationship, more just to be in one, or the ego or the image of it. And they'd have to change if operating with people from a more just and fair and balanced, and treating other people the way you like to be treated and from love has not been the foundation they've operated from, or they have inner conflict about trusting other people or believing in themselves or believing in love, then they're probably going to keep moving forward, with not showing they have that type of inner conflict, and they'll go get in another relationship. If they are kind of more competitive, is what the Five of Wands can be, or get caught up in their head and, I don't know, get defensive or act from their ego, for like people like that who maybe, say they go get a different job, they'll just try to hide that, kind of other people kind of saw the truth, that they could be a little stubborn, and they kind of think it's just and fair, and could be people who have a problem of willing to get out of their ego to learn lessons or do things differently. They might have their way of doing it, and then when you go get another job, it's like, well, you might have done that at the old job, but this is how we want you to do it here. Or, and they might end up having the same problem at the next job, or they'll find people where, you know, maybe they need someone who's like that. It all does kind of, to a degree, work out. People get in relationships, the people who ultimately, where they are able to work things out, it's because some reason it does interactively work. Even if it could be a very dysfunctional thing, it works, It's just that high vibe people don't really want a more dysfunctional or stubborn or manipulative or stressed out or immature type of workplaces, friendships, or relationships. So it looks like people have offered people truth and love. They move forward in life and are moving forward in life, closing out an old cycle, getting out of their ego about it. And when you're willing to see the truth, you quit investing more of your time, energy, and effort in what didn't work, to be inspired to put more work and effort into the things and the people and the hobbies and the pastimes, or just living your life, not being around people who could be shadowy. And that is a step in the right direction. And, you know, that is you taking action in alignment that is more aligned with your dreams and standing up for yourself. What's coming up for the people who harness some high vibe Scorpio energy that they might not see coming? The Hierophant and the Seven of Cups. Why? Because of the Nine of Swords. Well, the Eight of Swords, again, in Gemini energy, which talks about your free will nature. I interpret the Eight of Swords is that this person is a feminine figure, so that means regardless if people are male or female, emotionally, they are listening to their intuition. They've learned all these lessons in life. They've seen the truth. They've kind of worked through the Seven of Swords to be at the Eight of Swords. I've seen and dealt with within myself the things that kind of get me up in my head and other people might be up in their head, and how I could have deceived and manipulated myself and not wanting to see the truth about some things, and how some other people in my life do that. And now at the Eight of Swords, I view it as listening to the Two of Swords because there's a maximum of 10. And it's like the Two of Swords is of their intuition and maintaining balance within themselves is what they're listening to. And because some high vibe people did that, and they took action in their truth, and they're listening and aligning with their more high vibe nature of high vibe Taurus, which is walking the talk and your philosophy of life and your truth. You have lots of options available to you because you've kind of distanced yourself from some things that weren't aligned with your truth. And now as you're going forward, you're just listening to your intuition, you're walking the talk. The Seven of Cups is Scorpio energy, offering a cup of love to people in Six of Cups energy, other people who are more emotionally balanced and have reconciled themselves with issues from their past, is what the Six of Cups can talk about, to have a new beginning. You know, I'm willing to offer love to this. Are you willing to offer love to it? If if there's the potential, kind of like the Ace of Cups is, there's the potential for a new beginning emotionally. If both people offer a cup of love to it, then we have the Three of Cups. We have people working together cooperatively from love. And then as you do this work within yourself, from the three to the seven, it's kind of taking back the Four Cups, which can talk about feeling like you missed an opportunity in love and being more focused on the things in your life that didn't work out because you offered love to it and aligned with working together with your own more hopeful, believing, loving nature, standing up for your own loving nature, believing in yourself, believing in your dreams, keeping things in perspective, walking the talk. You get over the regrets of the past. That's how you get over the regrets of the past and get over feeling like you missed an opportunity in love because you realize with some of the people, though you could have had love for them, some of those people, got a lot of maybe growing up and maturing to do. And you work through it anyway. And then because you're moving forward, maybe kind of shining bright, living your truth energetically, you kind of just give off a different energy about you, which could make people view you as someone they would want to be in a relationship with. And then those people just have to go through their thought process and work through their issues of, do I have hope and faith and belief in me and love and others, or don't I? And you probably already have some people in your life who, whether it's in the workplace, a community, a family dynamic, or whatever, are standing up and defending you and working together with you because their intuition is telling them that you are basically who you say you are. You're not trying to manipulate people or have an ulterior purpose. You just want to get along with people and enjoy people in a just and fair, respectful, and loving way. And other people know they could go hang out with some people who aren't like that, and some of them will, because that's not where they're at. And the people who are more aligned with your truth will be drawn and attracted to you like you'll be drawn and attracted to them. What's coming up for some people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Scorpio that they don't see coming? The King of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, and the Knight of Swords. Why? Because of the Ten of Pentacles. So the Ten of Pentacles in shadow can be kind of unbudging because there's a maximum of 10. And they probably have some people in their life who are trying to offer them a new beginning, to balance things out with them in the Two of Pentacles, in truth and love. Let's detach from some of these things. Let's move forward together. Like, I'll be your friend, and we'll work things out. Let's work through some of these issues. I'll help you. you know and some of them are married to them. Some of them want to marry them. Some of them want them to work with them or for them. But the shadowy people are like, in their Two of Pentacles, they're like, uh, you know, I'm kind of a little bit in my ego, and I kind of have these ways of doing things. And I didn't really think I'd maybe have to get more balance within myself or be more just and fair. I might want to stay in the job, the friendship, or relationship, or have you stay in it or not fire me. But can't I keep juggling the truth? How about you be more just and fair and motivated and inspired? And I come along with, but I kind of don't commit to really being inspired to put in work and effort, and again maybe have these old ways of being of how I like to operate in the world. And they're going to have some high vibrational people in their life that are going to say, I see the truth, you keep juggling. So, you know, I wish you peace. I'm going to move on. And then the shadowy people will be stressed out that those people weren't willing to let them kind of keep manipulating them. We've probably all known some coworkers, right? That it's like, I really think that person should be fired. But, you know, the other people, no, 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 they got these traits or qualities or skills or education. We need that. It's like, there's other people that have some of those traits and skills and education. Maybe someone who actually is inspired to put in work and effort. They might look like they put in work and effort, but they don't really. Um, but eventually, again, people who aren't being more authentic aren't really more inspired by the truth to work more cooperatively in a just and fair way. Eventually, some more high vibrational people in their life are going to move on from them. And they'll probably be stressed out that those people kind of see the truth. And for some of them, some of these people are, again, if they're more motivated by ego and image, they're trying, male or female. Um, and some people, they have more than enough, but enough is never enough, because shadowy energy at the devil is just like people having an addiction. I need more status. I need more money. I need more image. I need more attention. I need people to view me like a damn shining star in the world. It's not good enough for me to just live my life and be in relationships, in deep, meaningful relationships with people where we have enough that most people would be happy with. But, it's like I'm willing to sacrifice those things. The most important thing is to have more money, more status, more image, or more about me. And they either want to be indulged or they want other people to indulge them. And what they don't see coming is there'll be other people who will, everybody's got these lessons to learn in life. There'll be other people who come into their life, especially if they have status, ego, image, power, social clout, attractive, charming. The Ten of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles can mean people have these things of the world that people desire in people. They'll have other people willing to come in and get in a relationship with them. But some of those people, um, they might be someone who really clamps down on them. Oh, if that person somehow either has the money and the status or the power, the image, or really contributes to them seeming like they have it from whatever they bring to it, they might get in a relationship with someone who really clamps down on them. oh, you're not going anywhere. And, you know, if you think, because sometimes some people who are more immature, they might get in a relationship with someone who is more like almost a parent in their life. And it's like replaying that pattern because we'll all keep repeating a pattern. And some people are looking for a parent to come in their life to play that role. Other people might want to just be more immature, and they're going to have somebody who comes in who some of them could have somebody who comes in that is more like a clamping down on them kind of thing, which then they have to decide if they want to keep repeating that pattern or if they're finally willing to grow up and mature themselves, because children eventually usually want to be more independent, but they might just leave it to go find someone who's less controlling. For the ones who are more just materialistic, they might have someone who's like, yeah, I'm willing to be in a relationship with you for those things. But that person then could be more like them in the Knight of Swords of Gemini. This makes practical, logical sense. Yeah, I'll have sex with you. Yeah, I'll indulge you in your ego, so long as we have this certain status or image. But the whole reason for the foundation and being in the relationship is more about those things versus love. So there you go, Scorpio. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.